Hey, Sonara here. What you're looking at in front of you is the pre-raid best in slot that you can achieve on a Fury Warrior at the beginning of the Burning Crusade. I'll go into more detail on some items that you can swap out and where you can maybe save some money, and how things like weapon skill and expertise have changed from Classic. But if you're just looking for the items that give you the best stats and what you can get in each slot, this is what you need, and I'll have links in the description to both my 60 upgrade lists and the BIS lists in the video for when I get to them for both ARMS dual wield and ARMS slam spec. Without further ado, let's get into it. The first thing I actually want to talk about before I talk about any of the items in particular is going to be expertise. So expertise is a new stat that effectively reduces the dodge chance on enemies. In vanilla, you can't lower this with weapon skill in a meaningful way, but in TBC you can, so you won't have any more of those. You bloodthirst the boss and it gets dodged. That is, if you get to cap. At the beginning of the expansion, you're not going to get to cap very easily, and you don't really need to. The cap is something that you want to strive to achieve, but it's not necessary. Hit cap is something that you do want to achieve because it is very easy to actually get soft capped. Keep in mind that the heroic strike feature, where when you have it queued, there's no dual wield penalty, that still exists in TBC. So if you get to soft cap and you have constant heroic strike queue, you'll be fine. This doesn't apply to two-handed arms, by the way. Two-handed arms, you don't have the dual wield penalty in the first place, so you're never going to miss anything when you get to soft hit cap of 9%. Again, there is an increase from Classic. It is now 9% because the racials influence your expertise and they don't influence your weapon skill. So for all my BIS lists, you can see down here, I do have that 9% number here. So that is actually 142 hit rating. Rating and percent, they go hand in hand. It's a little annoying to translate. It's the same thing with expertise, where rating and dodge parry reduction are not equal, and expertise rating is not the same as expertise. The way it works, if we go back to the table here, the things we want to look for is 52. This is what you need on top of your racial if you have weapon mastery to get dodge cap. And if you don't have a racial, it's 71 with weapon mastery. Total is 103. So if you add everything up to 103, you'll be dodge capped. But it's not actually completely necessary to get to that point, though I do see big DPS increases picking up some expertise if you're low on it. Finally, let's get to the items. Wastewalker Helm is going to be the best item that I think you should pick up at the beginning. There is Mask of the Deceiver showing that it's a slightly better sim. However, this costs 50 justice badges. That's going to take a long time to farm, and I don't think you want to be spending them here. There's some other items that you'll want to be spending your badges of justice on, and the Wastewalker Helm is almost as good. When I put this into the sim, it's like sometimes even ahead. It just depends. So it's basically an identical item and you don't have to spend badges on it. It is from the old Hillsbrad Foothills heroic dungeon with a 16% drop rate off the Epoch Hunter, so it's kind of hard to farm. Though, the Helm of the Claw is also a very, very close second. It sims maybe 5 DPS worse than the Wastewalker Helm. Keep in mind that a Fury Warrior is simming about 2000 DPS in pre-raid best in slot with all of the buffs. 5 DPS isn't really a big difference if you want to just get this one from a quest in the Steam Vaults. The reason we're not picking an item that doesn't have a metagem socket is the metagem is a big DPS increase when you have it active. To the neck, Choker of Vile Intent. There are some other things that people say might be better, so the Adamantine Chain of the Unbroken is pretty good as well. For this, I'm just using the Choker of Vile Intent to get the hit cap, and it sims almost as well. If you go to this Adamantine Chain of the Unbroken, it is a little bit better, but you're going to have to get hit somewhere else. This ends up being probably your best option when you have raid gear, but pre-raid BIS, the Choker of Vile Intent is definitely worth picking up, but if you're farming slave peds anyway, you might as well try to get this one. Rage Steel Shoulders. I believe that these are actually the best shoulders. As you can see here, they have 2 sockets, crit rating, hit rating, and they have the Burning Rage set. They're a cheap BOE, and if you get 2 of the Rage Steel items, you're going to increase your hit rating by 20. Pretty good option. Nothing else really comes that close to this. Like everything else is either leather and it doesn't have the great stats. This has really good sockets, a good socket bonus, and good stats. So just pick this one up. It's a no-brainer. It'll be cheap off the auction house. Vengeance Wrap. So This is going to be an expensive BOE. There's no way to get around that. It costs a lot of materials to make. It's a pattern from tailoring. It has a socket, gives you 2 hit rating if you fill it up, which we are using to get to exactly 9% hit in this setup going on here. Increases crit by 23, attack power by 52. Insane item. You're going to use this until probably Black Temple and probably into Black Temple. It's going to be a while before you get a cloak. As a warrior, you're competing with hunters now. Like, there's a lot of people that you're going to be competing for cloaks. So just build this one. Spend your money here. It's worth it. I would get this item on even the cheaper sets, which I'll show in the future. Rage Steel Breastplate. This thing is pretty good. You can see it kind of sims down here behind some of the blacksmithing options, but the blacksmithing options are not going to be taken as we are going to be a weaponsmith. Rage Steel Breastplate is behind Chestguard of Exile and Doomplate. Very, very good for the 20 hit. You want that. Has great stats, nothing wrong with this item, aside from it not having sockets. If somehow you get Chestguard of the Exile dropped, I would probably sell it on the auction house. It's just not that good. Something you got to remember, you're going to replace like your tier slot pieces relatively quickly. Tier is easy to come by. Onto the bracer. Black Felsteel bracers are the best option you can pick. If you can't make this item, it's expensive. There's not really too many other great options. I would probably just pick up this green one or this green one from whatever quest they spawn from. Or I would continue using my Vengeance Bracers from Naxxramas or Hive Defilers from AQ40. Those are basically the same as these Aged Leather Bindings or the Demolisher's Bracers. I would probably use Aged Leather if I didn't need the hit. And yeah, they're about the same as those classic pieces. These ones are pretty good, though you will replace them in raid. So if you don't want to spend the money on it, don't worry about it. Bracer is kind of a low stat priority slot. So the felt leather gloves, great item. They give you hit rating, crit rating, attack power. They have 2 sockets, and their socket bonus is okay. Generally, you don't really need to worry about the socket bonus unless you're trying to get your metagem active. In this case, we are using the red slot from this one, or you can use it from the boots. It's up to you. Generally, this is going to be a good item. You could also use Rage Steel if you don't need the hit. I don't recommend any of the other glove options. Fell leather or Rage Steel, depending on whichever one you want. Belt is easy. Deathforge Girdle. This drops from normal Sethic Halls from Talon King Icus. Very good item. 2 sockets, 22 strength, 25 stamina, 3 agility if you fill them out. We will be using the blue one to get the second blue gem, and that will activate our Earth Siege Diamond that we are putting in the helmet. Pretty awesome. It's a great belt. There's no other option that's really competitive. Just go and get this one. It's from a basic dungeon. All right, Cleft Hoof Hide Leggings, the skirt. So, Cleft Hoof Hide Leggings are really good. If you have a Boomy in your raid, you might want to take the Shatrath Leggings because they give up a little hit and give you a couple more stats. But the Cleft Hoof Hide Leggings, hit rating and expertise, and a bunch of premium stats on them as well. Very good item. If you're not wanting to pick these for whatever reason, if you just say you run Slave Pens Heroic and you get Midnight Leg Guards first time, you can get them. However, Cleft Hoof Hide Leggings are from a quest, so might as well just do it. It's actually really easy to get. It's a great item. You'll use this until you get your tier piece. Nothing wrong with these. Fell Leather Boots. So this is going to be probably one of the more expensive BOE options as well. So this is hit rating, crit strike rating, attack power, 2 sockets. Really good item. This is on par with the raid drops as far as DPS goes. So it's a good item. Don't cheap out here, just buy these boots. They're going to be the best you can get. Everything else is significantly worse. Shapeshifter's Signet. I recommend this one. So this is from Lower City Exalted. You will get this doing your attunements, most likely, and it won't be a big grind if you need to get it anyway. This is just a great item. 25 agi, 20 expertise. 20 expertise is huge. Again, it's going to be lowering the dodge chance of bosses. And then I also recommend the Ring of Arathi Warlords. Shafar's is better, but this is really hard to get. If you can get it, great, good for you. But Ring of Arathi Warlords, you just buy this from the badge vendor. Not a big deal. It's a great ring, got some good stats on it, but you will replace this in Karazhan. So if you don't want to spend the badges here, you can skip out on this one. Bloodlust Brooch. This is another badge item. Pretty good item. 72 attack power, 278 for 20 seconds on activation. It's a great trinket. Use it during execute phase. You use it during your death wish, your recklessness. Just a nice on use. You can use this with Badge of the Swarm Guard, the other trinket that I have on there. Up to you. It's a good item. Badge of the Swarm Guard, I also recommend. Grab this out of AQ40. Really insane item. Bosses have more armor in TBC, so In Classic, in Anniversary at least, when we had all the debuffs on the bosses, they were left with something like 36 armor, so it was really easy to have almost full damage. In TBC, bosses having 7,700 armor, they're going to have significantly more armor even when all the debuffs are applied to them. So Badge is actually about a 10% DPS increase when you activate it. Very good item. If you don't have this, however, you should probably farm for it. Just run to AQ40, kill Scarum, and then kill Sartura. You can bring like 20 people and do it. Hourglass of the Unraveler is a good item. This is from Temperus and the Black Morass. Not the greatest, but I would definitely recommend picking up the Badge because you will use this into Black Temple. It's just an insane item. And finally, for ranged item, we've got Mama's Insurance. I'm sure you know about this one. It comes from a quest in Netherstorm. It has insane stats: 10 agility, 32 attack power, 6 crit rating on your ranged weapon. Very, very good. All right, let's go over to the weapons. So, I'm sure everyone knows that Dragon Maw is going to be basically the best one-hand weapon that you can get. 91 DPS, 9 stamina, and increases your haste rating by 212. I forget if this is the actual one that is the... Yeah. So this is the second upgrade here, and then there's a third upgrade even farther when you go into tier 5. If you have to spend your money on any item, even over the Vengeance Wrap, make the Dragon Maw. You will use this for so long. You will use this until you will get Warglaives. If you don't get Warglaives, you might even use this into Sunwell. Like, it's just going to be completely insane. It's totally worth the money. The proc on it's amazing. Just get this item. The other potential expensive item is Blink Strike. This is a world drop epic, so it's going to be hard to get, though it is simming the best as a second weapon for a Fury Warrior. It just has high DPS and Wind Fury proc on it. It's a great item. If you can't get this, however, there are some other options that you may be interested in using. The Fellsteel Longblade, you could use this. This is just a BOE blacksmithing item. Vindicator's Brand, you will get this for doing your shoulder enchant as well. It's from Aldor Exalted. And then also there is the Fell-Edged Battle Axe. So even though this is an axe, it is really good. It has high stats, and it has a socket on it, crit rating, hit rating. Very strong item. You might want to use this in your offhand as well if you, for example, just are unable to get Blink Strike, or you can't find something like Latros either. I would probably use Fell-Edged over Latros. So that's the Fury Warrior setup. Let's move on and take a look at the Kebab Warrior setup. So, a couple differences here. Kebab, when we go back to that table and you look at your talents, Kebab doesn't have the weapon mastery, so it is not going to reduce 2% dodge, so you need a little bit more expertise with Kebab. When I've simmed this, it's about 17 to 1800 DPS, so it's a bit behind Fury Warrior, but it's pretty good. Like, it's not bad. Again, two-hand arms is going to be stronger, though not by that much, and you might only have this slot to play. The thing that's really nice about Kebab is that it is very, very cheap to gear up. You're going to see that we don't have a Drakefist Hammer. The Drakefist Hammer is probably the most expensive thing you're going to make. The only thing expensive that we have is the Fell Leather Boots and the Vengeance Wrap, and you could replace those if you wanted to. Like, you could skip out on Vengeance Wrap and Fell Leather Boots if you want to be a broke boy and spend no money. Though I seriously consider getting the Vengeance Wrap. We've talked about most of these items. I've talked about the aged leather bindings. I have them here because I consider this to be a budget setup. You're probably only playing Kebab if you don't want to spend money, because two-handed arms is actually stronger. We've got Vindicator's Brand here in the main hand, and we've got Latros in the offhand. Just to increase our expertise, again, we have significantly less than the Fury Warrior does because we do not have those 2 points in weapon mastery. Same reason, we're actually going to use the Flesh Handler's Gauntlets. So it looks like they sim way down here, but they're actually really, really good when you plug them into the sim. 18 strength, 17 agi, 18 expertise. Really good item. Just looks kind of weird to bring in a green, but it's actually a good item. We are still using the Deathforge Girdle, the Cleft Hoof Hide Leggings, Fell Leather Boots, the 2 rings, the Bloodrust Brooch that we talked about earlier. And I was just thinking, hey, you know, maybe you have the Hourglass because you don't have the Badge of the Swarm Guard if you're going Kebab. If you have Badge, you should still use it. It's just insane. Mama's Insurance. So really not too much is changing, except you're skipping out on some of the expensive items and you're putting on cheap ones. If you want to do it a little differently, you could wear, for example, like the Nether Fury Cape or the Cloak of the Inciter, though this is from like Shadow Labyrinth. Nether Fury is a little bit easier to get. You might want to get that one. Up to you. And then for the boots, Fell Leather Boots are the best, and it's really tough to find one that's almost as good. Like, none of these are really that great. Like, this one has resilience. None of these give you the hit that you need. It's really nice to get the hit rating from the boots. I would really recommend just buying Fell Leather Boots. So Slam, pre-BIS, again we have the Wastewalker helmet, Choker of Vile Intent, Rage Steel Spalders, Vengeance Wrap, Rage Steel Breastplate, Black Fell Steel Bracers, the Lionheart Champion, which is the big difference here. It's the two-handed sword, insane weapon. You use this because you use sword spec over any other specialization because it is the strongest. Fell Leather Gloves are being used here for the hit. You can see we're at exactly 9%. Deathforge Girdle is very, very strong here as well. Clefthoof Hide Leggings are again being used for the hit and the expertise. Fell Leather Boots are again being used because they're the best item. And then we're using the same rings, trinkets, and ranged weapon. So not too much changes between the specializations for what your actual pre-grade best in slot is going to be. And then, you know, pick the best items that you have available to you. If you don't want to spend the money, I suggest probably going Kebab because you can get very cheap weapons and you only have to spend on the cape and the boots. Everything else is going to be really, really easy for you to get. If you want to spend the money and do the most damage possible, then I would suggest playing Fury. It's going to have the highest DPS out of any of these, and in my opinion, it's the most fun spec in the game. Also, two-handed slam, really fun as well. If you need an arms warrior spot and you want to spend the money on it, go right ahead. Lionheart Champion is insane. Anyways, I hope that this helped you in some way. If you have any questions, feel free to leave a comment, reach out to me on Discord, I'll leave the link in the description, and I can see if I can help you out. Have a great day.